Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so very much for dropping by this video. To anyone who's new to this channel is about helping people understand the difference between authentic non-duality and watered down, modernized, usually commercial, neo-non-duality, often called Neo-Advaita. You can find out more about this on my website, which I posted in the chat box and below this. Good morning, beautiful souls. It's a beautiful morning where I am. Let's see. I don't know if you can see so well. Got up early, did some meditation, did some stretching, and I'm really excited to. Excitement is the word. Neo-Advaita took me to the brink of suicide over and over. And it really made me a dysfunctional person. I am in the process of, I've left Neo-Advaita and I'm in the process of becoming a functional, balanced spiritual person. And I'm just so grateful. That's what the real feeling is. I'm so grateful to be here and to be able to share some information that might help people on their journey to exit Neo-Advaita and to become a balanced spiritual person. Because what I realized is that Neo-Advaita is not actually a spiritual teaching. It's a form of escapism. And worse than that, it is what I call, and I didn't come up with the term, but it fits, it's false light. It appears to be spiritual and true and helpful, but actually it isn't. That's part of its deception, is that it appears to be a source of light, but actually it's a source of darkness. So I watched a video the other day about Buddhism by a Buddhist monk, and it really spoke to the problem with Neo-Advaita. I've posted that link below, or I meant to. I don't know if I actually did. I'll do it. Oops, I didn't. I'm glad. I will post that below. So it's a little technical. It talks some Buddhist language, particularly Theravada, which is one school of Buddhism, but it gets right to the essence of part of the problem of Neo-Advaita. So basically someone writes this monk and says, I had this realization of not self, meaning that the body, the emotions, the thoughts, the sensations, those are not me, that I identify with them, but I falsely identify with them. And so now what do I do? And so this monk very clearly indicates that, one moment of seeing is not enough. And if this person says, well, it really reduced suffering a lot. And in essence, the monk says, you need to keep going. And this points to exactly what traditional Advaita Vedanta teaches. Basically, traditional Advaita Vedanta says the process of Advaita is kind of a three-step process. The first step is to listen from a qualified teacher and to really get a deep understanding of the teachings. The second is to really reflect, not whether they're true or not, but just to understand them without evaluating them. The second is to begin the evaluation process. Is this true? What do I think about this? How does this connect to my life experience? How does what I've been taught connect to other things that I've been taught? Do I have any doubts about this teaching? So that's the second phase, a really deep investigation. And then the third phase, once you've cleared up any doubts and are convinced this is true, then begins the process of integrating it into one's life. In the second phase, in the deep reflection, there often can be a kind of awakening experience. But in traditional Advaita, it's very well understood that that's just a part of the path, that having an experience, because the third phase is integration, where you bring the knowledge that you've learned and any insights you've had, you bring it into every aspect of your life. And this is the phase where someone would strive to practice self-inquiry all day long. So you can see how this is completely different from Neo-Advaita. Neo-Advaita starts with like a preaching, like, this is true. You need to believe this. And then has people practice self-inquiry. So as you can see, it's just absolute night and day. And to boot, the video I shared, that I'll share, this monk talks about how ultimately you're gonna want to even let go of your insights. The ultimate goal is to go beyond insights. But you can see with Neo-Advaita, there's this obsession with ideas and with belief systems, because none of the teachers have actually realized. They've, again, probably had an awakening experience, probably had a eureka moment, but they haven't actually integrated the teaching into their life, into their personality, into their moment-by-moment experience. So hence there's this obsession with ideas, with talking, with belief systems. So the other thing that I would add is what's missing in Neo-Advaita is all the various preparatory things. So I said it's basically a 3-phase process, but before you even begin the first phase, there's a kind of a preparation, a laying of a foundation. One traditional Advaita Swami who I studied with, she said that Dharma and Bhagavan are non-negotiable. And that's what she taught first, before she went into any non-dual philosophy. She taught people how to live a dharmic, harmonious lifestyle and how to cultivate a relationship with Bhagavan, can be translated as God. That's not exactly accurate, with the source of everything. She said those are non-negotiable. You have to have those to walk the non-dual path. And of course, Neo-Advaita says, they're nonsense. You don't need those things. So welcome to any live viewers. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in. And I'm gonna find the technical terms for the 3 components of traditional Advaita and put those in the chat box. By the way, I have an article about this on my website. There you go. So you can look these up and you can read about them. And I have a couple amazing articles on my website. But the 3 parts are called Shravana, again, hearing the truth, Manana, deep reflection on, and then the most important piece, which Neo-Advaita completely leaves out, Nidhyasana, the integration or the embodiment of these teachings. So I'm going to put a link to that in the chat box. Let's see if there's anything else I want to share right now. The other thing I love about this video I'm going to post by the Buddhist monk is that, so in Buddhism, there's this term called Sotapanna, which he talks about in this video. A Sotapanna is someone who's had a deep realization or spiritual experience for whom enlightenment is inevitable. Not necessarily, not that they're not enlightened, and it's not even inevitable in this lifetime or when they leave their body. But in the Buddhist teaching, once you've reached that stage, within 7 lifetimes, you will absolutely achieve enlightenment in the Buddhist teaching. once you've hit the stage of sotapanna, which means a stream enterer, meaning you've entered the stream of truth. But once you've entered that, that doesn't mean that you stop practice or you're enlightened. The Buddha taught very clearly that's not necessarily where the path begins, but that's just a stage on the path. Whereas Neo-Advaita, if you have an awakening experience, or you have an aha, or you have a recognition, like, hey, I am not my body, mind, or personality, then a Neo-Advaita teacher oftentimes will be like, that's it, you're enlightened, or that's what happened to them. They had a moment of realization or of seeing clearly, and then they fell for the delusion that they're actually enlightened. So studying Theravada Buddhism has been very helpful for me. Many of the things the Buddha taught actually point out how Neo-Advaita is a false teaching. It's really fascinating. And the Buddha came, of course, 1,000 years before Adi Shankara, the first main teacher or first formal teacher of non-duality. And it's almost like 1,000 years before Shankara came, the Buddha like gave some warnings. Like, here are some these are false teachings, or here, not that non-duality is false, but this distortion of non-duality is like, the Buddha basically said, here are some traps to look out for. And Neo-Advaita is basically teaching the traps that the Buddha warned us about. It's utterly fascinating. It's increased my respect and reverence for the Buddha by a lot. So that's pretty much all I have to share today. If anyone else has any questions or comments, feel free to type them in. Just sit for a minute and see if there's any feedback, questions, or comments. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone who joined in live. I appreciate everyone who took the time to watch this video. And I wish you a good day of recovery from fake non-duality. Have a great day, everyone. Blessings.